So this is my van, and I think it's pretty cool. It's got some Breaking Bad, 80s good looks in my opinion. But my daughter does not see it in the same way.
It smells bad, and it feels like if you got like the interior of like an old like grandma's house and then like put it in a van.
So to make the van more appealing to her, I'm going to do some improvements before the summer. First on the list is a sound system upgrade.
It's terrible. It's just like you get a bunch of sound and you just like put it together and just like blast it. It's like you can't hear the individual elements.
Right, so I'm going to install a set of Focal Access 690 AC speakers. I've also got a Focal 4340 amp. The new speakers are bigger, so I'm just enlarging the hole. So I've got a 16mm power cable coming from the battery to 50 amp fuse. That then splits into two 6mm powers. One going to the amp and the other going over here to the sub, which hasn't arrived yet. Speaker cables are in, speakers are in. Okay, I'm not going to put that fully in because it's bound to not work. Right, the sub's arrived. I couldn't afford the Focal sub. It was like 300 quid. So I got this one, which is cheaper. First impressions, it's good size. Put the trip on. No explosions. Good start.
It smells bad.
It smells bad.
So the smell that she's talking about, she says it's like dusty, and there is an element of dustiness, but also there is a touch of eau de diesel going on.
Eau de diesel.
So that probably needs fixing. And then the seats, the beautiful 1980s pink flowery seating. So I've got a quote for reupholstery, and yeah, we're not doing that. So best thing I can do is wash them. So now onto the diesel fumes. I'm taking out the intake pipe here as I think this may be the source of the leak. Look how good that turbo looks. So this is a pipe that comes from the catch can into the intake before the turbo. And the vacuum here will suck the oily, greasy kind of air from inside the crankcase. And that's what we want. And then it goes in and gets burned in the engine. So I think there's quite a lot of restriction here. It causes high crankcase pressure in places and it just leaks out everywhere. So let's fix that. So this is the old one, so 19mm. This is a new one, 25mm. And here it is fitted back in the engine. And with that back in, onto my next suspicion that the exhaust manifold gasket is leaking. To be honest, that looks pretty good, but anyway, let's get a new one in. And I'm going to upgrade to studs while I'm at it. Always looking good, but you know something's going to have to go wrong. Disaster. I've just messed up the threads. It was actually unwinding. When I was tightening it up, it was actually unwinding the stud. I don't know how that's even possible until there was only a few threads engaged. Then the nut bottomed out here and I just gave it a bit of torque and it just went click and slipped. And it's just messed up the threads here and messed up the threads in the cylinder head. Absolute nightmare. So I'm going to use one of these. This doesn't have that section without thread, so I'll be able to thread this right to the very back, cover it in Loctite, and just pray that it's enough to tighten it, to torque it. So with way too much Loctite on, let's give it a few days to dry. Right, it's been like 3 days. It's rained like constantly since I put that stud in, so plenty of time for the Loctite to harden. Now it's just, I'm just praying that when I torque it, it doesn't slip. World's worst camera angle, but anyway. Oh, why is it clicking? It's not clicking, but feels really tight. I'm scared. I might just leave it. So they're all Torx except for that Loctited one. And I'm just scared to give it that last little push. It feels really tight. So I might just leave it and start it and see if it smokes. I bought this fancy air quality meter here, which should tell us if we've still got a fume problem. Right, let's try it. It starts well. So far, no smell. Used to get a bit of smell straight away. I think when it started, it used to kind of just rush and pressure through the crankcase and used to get... Can't smell anything right now. I don't want to talk too soon. That air quality meter has not changed. The air in here is perfect. By the way, it's freezing, so my breath. I haven't put the diesel heater on. I just don't want to mess with the air. So just driven for about an hour. And honestly, I can't smell the slightest whiff of anything bad at all. That's pretty much perfect. Okay, after that first run, where everything was looking great and I got really happy, took it out again and I started to smell the dreaded diesel fumes again. So I had another check in the engine, ran the engine this time and sprayed washing up liquid everywhere to see if there were any bubbles coming out, just to find out like where is this leak coming from. And there it was, just staring at me in the face the whole time. The little cap, which the plate that sits on top of the manifold. So there it was. Didn't need to probably do the manifold gasket. I think all along it was that. So I started to undo the bolts of that plate, and one of them snapped. So the second bolt disaster of this repair. But this time it just went from bad to worse. I drilled it out, got a bolt extractor in there to retrieve the section of bolt, and that snapped. And so that meant that you can't really drill it out anymore because it's hard. It's hardened steel. You know you can't drill through it very easily. After watching a YouTube video that recommended one of these diamond tipped, they're like ceramic tile drills, and look, they've got a hole in the middle. So this is M6, slightly smaller than the hole. Managed to drill out around the extractor, and by some miracle I could chase the threads with the tap and they came back to life. So now it's on to making a new plate for the top out of much thicker steel. So hopefully it will seal much better. This is the EGT sensor, by the way, that long probe, which tells me how hot the exhaust gases are. Oh God, what started off as like let's just make it smell a bit nicer in here, it's turned into like one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do on this van. It's all done, it's all together again. Feels like order from chaos, you know, like broken threads and stuff, and I've managed to get it to a point where it looks perfect. Well, if speaking too soon was an Olympic sport, I would win gold for that one. Yep, that is still leaking quite badly. So I'm just going to go into overdrive here, just trying endless other things to try and get it to work better. I don't know why it's so difficult to get this thing to seal. Anyway, I've gone to town with that high temperature sealant, put way too much on. In the past, I've noticed that with exhaust fittings that if they're slightly leaky at the beginning, but you kind of don't do anything about it, sometimes the soot from the exhaust kind of clogs up those leaks and it actually sorts itself out. Anyway, let's start the engine, just let it idle and warm up and just see if there's any smoke. I think we just wait now. Wait and see if it smells. So I've run the engine for like, I don't know, 20 minutes and it's warmed up now. I'm not smelling anything, so I'm going to take it for a drive now. And after a pretty long drive, I still couldn't smell anything at all, so just maybe it's fixed. That's the meter right now. It's just still in the 400s, just perfectly fine. But fingers crossed, we've done it. So, time for a proper test. You don't need to go to the Alps like Matt Armstrong. There are ski slopes in Scotland, so we're going up to Glencoe in the Highlands to see what they've got up there. So after a couple of days of travelling, the big question is my daughter happy with the van now?
Well, it smelled a bit less, and it was like, it gave me less of a headache like it generally does.
And the new sound system? For comparison, this is what it used to sound like.
As the beat goes through, like, did you get a subwoofer for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very obvious. It like shakes the entire ground. It's a little better. It's a mid.
Just give up.
Yeah, just give up.
Just give up. She wants
It's
to go to
it's a lot better than it used to be. It's become more inviting and nicer delivering.
Okay.
Lisa wants to go to a villa in Spain, basically.
I want to go to
I
a villa
just
in
don't think
Spain.
anything else is going
This
to
is
be
a little.
ever.
It's closer to a villa in Spain than it was before you got the sound system.
Okay, well. So I don't know if that's a win or a fail, but anyway, I'm pretty happy that I've got as far as I have. And for the skiing, it was absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly recommend it.